Let's get right to Fox News' Dave Kinchin. He's live after speaking with the sheriff as well as a clinical psychologist. Dave, what do they have to say?
Well, they say, these are no doubt very tough and difficult times, but the picture that the sheriff paints of what deputies have encountered really every day, the calls they're getting now every day, suicides or suicide attempts, it's time, he says, to take action and invest more in mental health. But there's also things that our psychologist who we spoke with, she says we can also do to help save lives.
Every day, multiple calls a day.
Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard sounding the alarm on a rise in multiple suicides and suicide attempts within the last 48 hours.
One of the individuals we were able to take to a hospital to get a committal and hopefully get into treatment. I think so many people are struggling on so many levels. I think COVID magnified it, and so there's just more anxiety, depression, anger. On every call we see more manifestations on wider emotional swings.
He says there's also numerous drug overdoses his deputies have been responding to as of late.
Overdoses are an everyday thing for us. We have probably averaged, 10, 15 a week that we save. And then we go to probably similar or close number that don't make it. When we arrive, they're already too far. And that could very well be part of a mental health crisis, too. They may be self-medicating.
Bouchard says that's on top of an attempted suicide Wednesday night on Sutherland Street in Southfield. This is where a 31-year-old man shot himself in the head after holding police at bay in a standoff that lasted several hours. That case is still being investigated. First responders and therapists alike say they see more of the tragic results of modern society's higher pressures.
Coming out of the pandemic, the fallout of the pandemic, the economy, social media.
Dr. Rose Moten is a clinical psychologist, author, and life coach.
Anything you can think of, obviously, that can be a stressor in your life and my life can be something that can trigger a person who already has perhaps a predisposition to depression or some other mental illness into an episode that suicide ideation may be present.
She says this time of year can be especially troublesome for those struggling with their mental health. She paints a picture of what treatment can look like to save someone's life.
Hospitalization to get a proper diagnosis, because without a proper diagnosis, we can't have proper treatment. So that's very important. And it's important to see a mental health professional. Believe it or not, 75 to 80% of all psychotropic medications are actually prescribed by PCPs, family physicians, who don't necessarily have expertise in mental health. And that's why it's very important to seek out psychiatrists, psychologists.
Well, both the doctor and the sheriff say there needs to be more overall investment in mental health and mental health care. Sheriff Bouchard says they also need in law enforcement behavioral health specialists who can go along with law enforcement officers to help in very delicate situations, especially if there is a standoff that's linked to a mental health concern. Reporting live in downtown Detroit, Dave Kinchin, Fox 2 News.
Yeah, Dave, look, we say we need more mental health, yes, but that doesn't just mean more facilities. We need that too, but mental health experts are around. We have to take the stigma out of seeing a therapist. You go to the doctor for physical issues, there's no reason not to see someone for a mental health issue.
Yeah, that's exactly what Dr. Moten says. She says it is cliche and that's very important. She also says that in people who are dealing with either suicidal ideation or things like that, it may not be how they're seeing that perspective, but it's how people around them can see that perspective and certainly get them that help promptly and save a life.